It's good to be here this morning with all of you. Let's get my cup of tea going. We're only going to be here for a few moments today. Adios. So this morning I was thinking about a conversation that I had last night. We were gathered, and it was a group of folks that I work with in harm reduction, which is the practice of reducing the harm created by living in marginalized ways. So we offer naloxone, which is also called Narcan, which is an opiate reversal medication used to reverse overdoses. It's a life-saving medication. We distribute fentanyl test strips, which allows people to test the substances they're using for the presence of fentanyl, because fentanyl is being found in pretty much any street drug that you can imagine, being masked as Percocet, sprinkled onto cannabis, mixed in with methamphetamines and cocaine, and a lot of overdoses and overdose deaths that we see are people ingesting a substance that is not an opiate but contains traces of fentanyl that are enough to be deadly. So we distribute fentanyl test strips. We also distribute various tools for safe use. And in that line of work, we are very close to a population who is suffering greatly with the overdose loss crisis. The overdose crisis is growing every day, and it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot of pain, quite a lot of suffering, and it's a crisis that crosses all cultural, social, class, race, geographical boundaries. It's affecting rural America just as it is urban America. It's affecting the middle class, the upper class, and the impoverished people. It's affecting age ranges all the way from children to older adults. Everybody is being affected in this current crisis. And the conversation last night was specifically about what can we do? There's a recognition that something must be done, right? Something must be done here. We have to figure this out because this is at epidemic levels. Yesterday was 9/11, and I pointed out that by the end of next week, more Americans will be dead from overdose than died on 9/11. And this is true for every 2 weeks moving forward. Every 2 weeks, there are more people dying in this crisis than died on 9/11. So that's the equivalent of 26 9/11 attacks every year in our country. And yet, we don't see a lot of decisions being made that are helpful. And so we were discussing this, and And it can be difficult in difficult times to find a footing in what we know is needed. And we can begin to search for big answers, big solutions to big problems. I think we've all seen this collectively with COVID, with the solutions that were attempted, these big solutions to big problems. And I know that I do this in my life on an interpersonal level as well. But I made a suggestion, and I don't know if it's being heard quite yet. But I'd like to try kindness. I'd like to attempt changing our language and the way that we communicate with one another as a foundational aspect of the solution to the crisis that we are in. I'd like to suggest taking a breath and being able to simply connect to one another, friend or stranger, in a way that grows our kindness and our capacity for compassion. And I know how that can sound. Well, what's that going to do is the question. How is that going to stop this? How is that going to help this? How is that going to change that? But I think if we look at the very foundation of crisis itself, it is insecurity based upon scarcity and disconnection. That's what a crisis is. Insecurity based upon scarcity and disconnection. And so if the crisis is evidencing itself as overdoses or substance use or people losing their homes at an unprecedented rate, or violent crimes, or depression, or suicide loss. Wherever we are in our positionality with crisis, wherever we are sitting at the table with crisis, I think that our insecurity caused by scarcity and disconnection is mendable. And I think that as much policy as we want to put towards anything, those things can work, and those things can be good, and those things can be necessary. And I also believe, or maybe it's I feel, or I think, or I know, I don't know exactly what it would be to describe where I sit with this, but I think that kindness as an intentional practice can go a long way towards mending our insecurity towards scarcity and disconnection. So today's practice, we're going to take a few breaths together before we leave today. But there's a challenge or a suggestion or an ask of each of us. And that ask is, can you perpetuate kindness today? Can you be kind to a stranger? Can you be kind to a loved one? Can you be kind to yourself? Can you find it in your ability to sit with loving compassion towards somebody today? And once you do, can you do it again? And can you do it again? And can you do it again? Now, kindness is not being nice. It's not having small talk about pleasantries. You can be kind while doing those things, but kindness, performing a kindness to someone, is an act of giving. It's an act of giving presence, honest focus and attention. It's an act of giving material needs or goods, resources. It's an act of giving space for someone to share their bad day without telling them how to fix it and without judging anyone. So kindness is an action and a practice. And I do believe, and I know, and I think, and I feel that this is a linchpin that's going to shift the trajectory. So let's think on kindness this morning, feeling kindness in our body, remembering when someone was kind to me when I was not feeling loved or lovable. Remembering when someone was kind to me when I was being obtuse. How it felt when someone was kind to me when I did not believe I was deserving of kindness. I take a breath in. Release. Let that feeling and the memory of being held in kindness radiate through your body. Feel what it is to accept kindness. Breathing in, receiving kindness. Think for a moment on the face of one you love whom it's easy to be kind towards. Someone who generates within you a ready-made kindness. Just by being in their presence, you feel gentle, and you feel kind, and you feel connected. Picture their face. Send them kindness. Breathe in. Take a moment to tend to your body. Check your posture. Straighten your back. Relax your shoulders. Pull your shoulder blades together lightly in the back. Gently lift the chin. Breathe into the bottom of the belly. And release. Breathe in through the nose. And release. Remember the feeling of being kind to someone. Just the feeling of what it feels like when you are brought into being kind to another. And picture someone who is in need of your kindness right now. Someone who would benefit more greatly from a gentle embrace than they would from any advice you'd have to give. Someone who may just need to be acknowledged today. Someone who would love to have a phone call just to say hello and I love you and I'm thinking of you. Someone who you may want to invite over for tea or to meet out for lunch or a walk by the river. Picture the person who you know needs your kindness right now. And resolve to bring them kindness in some way. Breathing in and out. And finally, let's find that space in our heart for the unimaginable. Mary Oliver, the great poet, says to keep a little space in your heart for the unimaginable. Let's sit with that space right now and bring kindness there. One more breath. As you open your eyes this morning, stay in the awareness of the kindness that is possible. And let's resolve today that we will bring an act of kindness into our world. If you're getting a cup of coffee and you have the resources to pick up a second cup, buy a second cup of coffee and give it to someone on the street who maybe could really use not just a warm cup of coffee, but a warm sentiment and gesture from a fellow community member. Maybe just make that phone call that you've been meaning to make to a loved one and just be kind. Tell them you love them. Tell them thank you. Just be kind. And this is not a matter of fake it till you make it. That's being nice. Nice is what you can fake being nice, even if you don't feel it. But kindness is an act. It's an action. It's a verb. Kindness, to be kind. Let's make it an act that's so powerful, even in its subtleties, that in the simple act of being kind, you become kind. It doesn't matter if you're grumpy or if you're a good person or a bad person or any of the judgments that you might want to place upon yourself. An act of kindness is an act of kindness, and that will grow. So don't wait till you feel like you're a better person. Take this act and bring it into the world. I think we can do this. I think we can connect. We can show that there's abundance where we feared scarcity, and that insecurity will be assuaged and we will begin to feel more secure. And then the crisis is an opportunity for healing, for love, for rekindling and reconnection. Thank you for joining me on the journey home today. Hari Om.